let's see once it's starting. Okay, start recording. Thank you. Okay, so today our class is unit 3.5, which is developing children's emergent literacy skills. So all this unit, we're going to talk about the literacy skills. Do we know what's the literacy skills? Yeah? Obviously, literacy is all about language. Yeah?
Language, yeah.
Excellent. So if we go to question, where is it? Let me go. This is the reflective account. And so it says 1.1, identify the stages of language and communication development from birth to 7 years old. So what's the stages of language development? Do we know?
Yeah, there's a bubble language, like when they're birth, like from birth. And
so
then...
let me make it louder, because... Yes. So, yeah, can you repeat what you said?
I said when they birth, maybe you know they do bubble languages like from birth.
Yes.
So they start copying new words like, and then as they grow up, there's phonics in sounds.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, yeah, so they learn to talk. Learning to talk takes time. It doesn't go from A to Z straight away. So it takes time. So, and speaking for the children is a very important skills. They need to master it over time. So as you can see here, from 4 years, before that, the children not fluent. They speak maybe words, maybe they can say just sentences, short sentences. But after 4 years old, they are more fluent in the language. So as your colleague said, as a start, they just mumbling. They say a few words. They just copy whatever you say to them, and that takes time. So so as a start, they just produce sounds. You can say like listen to them producing sound. Maybe it doesn't make sense sometimes, and then little bit by bit, their English language develop, their grammar, their sound will improve, and they can. Sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, so their sound will improve, their English will improve, and they can make proper sounds. They can make proper grammatic things rather than doing grammatical errors. So, and this process, like, it doesn't happen, as we said, in one go. First, they need to they copy their parents. They say a few words, not much, but then after that, slowly they will pick up from us. They will start listening to us, pick up more words and add it to their speech, and also they will like listen to their parents and improve their language. So now let us go to table. Okay, so this is their stages of development. So we have 6 weeks to 6 months. Can you tell me what they would do between these for this period? How their language development will be? Come on, ladies, I need participation because this is recorded. It's good to have it for the awarding body later on.
There's no much to language, but they observe a lot. I think they copy you at that stage. They're just in a stage of copying whatever you say or.
Yeah, very good. And they will be crying most of the time. They make noises.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They will smile at you to show that they are happy.
Very good. Very good. How about between 6 to 9 years old, 9 months? What do you think their improvement would be?
I think they use one word. I think they can actually just say mama or dada, like those kind of words.
Very good. So the babies will have like blended vowels. They will have some words like ma, da, ba. They don't have proper sentences. Yeah, sorry. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, they can say
data like this.
Yeah, exactly. So they will be just bubbling, and they just say a few unrecognizable words, and they increase these sounds they make. They say more words by this time, and even if the how about the babies if they are deaf? If they are deaf, what they do? Do they sit quietly? Even the deaf ones, they make lots of wide range of sounds.
They will use eye contact.
Yeah, but they still make sounds even if they can't hear. Yes.
They don't give.
Yeah, very good. So and they develop their speech, their sounds slowly. It's very important for their communication. So you can see them. They make voices just to make. They want your attention. That's why they make these noises. Even doesn't make sense sometimes. And they smile, make sounds. This is their communication at this age. How about 9 to 12 months? 9 to 12 months. So say again.
Copying adult, like following adult voice, saying dad, and copying after us.
Yeah, very good. So the babies will bubble again. They make lots of sounds and they repeat same sounds in long setting, like ba ba ba. Maybe they because before that they used to just say ba, but now for this stage they repeat the same words longer time. Say the ba 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 ba. So they repeat it more often. And from 10 months, babies will start having their own code language. They call every certain thing in a different name. They have their own way of communication and calling things. And they would have even more words by this age, like 15 words, for example. They are more responsive, and they maybe say bye-bye, or they produce range of sounds by this age. As we said, they have their own language. They call different things different names. How about around 12 months? What the babies will do by this age? So they would use one or more sounds. So they make more noises, they make more sound. And at this age, which is 12 months, Yes, most like they will be having their first words. They may be mixing up with bubbling, and often, like you see, the parents are very happy listening to their child first word on this first like recognizable word. And for example, they have their own language, as we said, like here the book put bar for drink and candle. So they have their own vocabulary, their own language, and babies now are more able to understand a lot of words being said directly to them. So they don't only have their own language, but they can understand whatever you say to them. Some of the words or things you keep repeating to the baby, they will recognize it by this age. 18 to 24 months. What about this period? Can you think about what this age? At this age, the child will be able to make mini sentences. Yeah, maybe put two words together to create this sentence. Not big, difficult sentences or long sentences. Just a small, short, direct to the point. And they use keywords in their sentences, like dada. As you see here, they put some examples: dada come, dada go, dada something. So they will have at least 50 words by 2 years old. So they will increase they will make together mini sentences. They will have more words to say by this age.
And understand simple instruction.
Exactly, yes, very good. How about 24 to 36 months? What about this age?
They start talking.
Yes, very good. They increase their vocabulary.
Asking questions.
They can speak a little sentences.
Very good. They increase their sentences, they increase their words. So children language develop fast on this time, rapidly, like not slowly like it used to be. And now more words coming up their mouth. And also they they will develop fast, like from 50 words only, now they start saying 300, 400 words by the age of 3 years old. So the child will develop faster. They can talk now. They have complicated structure when they speak, in their speech. So you can now understand them. You can have a conversation with them. They understand. They have lots of words, lots of vocabularies, better than before. How about 3 to 4 years old? As you can see in the book here, it says that the sentences go longer, the vocabulary continue to increase. Child use language more complicated, like their mistakes in grammar show they still absorbing the proper way of talking. They have mistakes in the grammar, but they have longer sentences. That's why they make these mistakes. Here the book have given you some examples, like I wanted show that, or I like some vocabulary, some silly vocabulary mistakes they make, but it's fine because their language is has got better, and also their sentences got longer. So their language skills developed at this age, and they can repeat the question, they can ask a question, understand your question, all these things. And 4 to 6 years old, Can you please tell me what's happening on this stage?
They start school and learning more.
He starts school and starts speaking normally.
Yeah, exactly. So by 4 to 6 years old, they must.
They start counting.
Yes, they start talking properly. They master their language. Anything else you can think of?
They became fluent, and they sometimes they couldn't spell rightly the words. Example, I know the little boy who say the teacher like a teacher.
Yes, very good, very good. So they have their own mistakes. They are not fully there, but still they. Some of the children, of course, by this age, because after 4 years old, they should be mastering the language. They should their English grammar is getting better. They are more fluent. Though they're still making some mistakes, some errors, but some of the, as you said, they do some of them struggle with the pronunciation, but they do very well. They know more words. They have better communication skills. How about 6 to 8 years old? So now they start producing like more sounds, and their children language are clearer. Their teeth, their jaw, they develop, so their children, their language is more clear, and you can listen to them and understand them. How about 1.2? Describe factors which affect language and communication need. Go to 2.1. 1.2. So what's the factors that affect the children language?
It could be disability.
Yes.
TV.
Okay. So I'm really sorry. I have I need 5 minutes break. Would you mind if I can get this break? I have something to deal with this very urgently. Just give me a few minutes break. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No
Thank
problem. No.
Thank you so much. Just go into
We do our cooking now.
Yeah, hello, lovely ladies. I'm really sorry. I do apologize for that. Are you all back in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry. I had the trouble.
No, it's
when
okay.
you have people renovating, like I have some work done in my kitchen because it's leaking, and the contractor just keep annoying me. Okay, let us go back to. So where we are in facts that affecting the language and communication needs. So can you think about factors can affect the children language and communication? Can you think about anything affecting the language and communication for the children?
Their
What
health
do you
and
think?
their health and physical development.
Yes. So first
Yes.
of all, the relationships that we have
Yes.
with them.
Environment.
Yes? Yeah. Can you explain a little bit about the relationships?
The environment around him, how they talk with them, how they.
Yeah.
Children also need a positive relationship with adult that can support them develop their language skill.
Okay. So the relationship, the quality of the relation between the adult child can have very significant impact on the children's. So whatever we have relationship with them, that will add to their skills, to their communication. If we do good communication with them, that will increase their vocabularies. So if we talk to the children, that will sorry, it's gone back to the end. So if we talk to them a lot, if we have good relationship with them, if we talk to them a lot, they will expand their vocabulary. Yes. So that's very important to understand that the babies, the toddlers, their body language, whatever we have with them as kind of our relationship with them, the language, how much we talk to them, this is all will encourage the children speech. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is very important for them to for us to have this good relationship with them. How about the quality and significance of adult interaction? How about the adult interaction? What's the significant quality and significance of adult interaction? So even though we have good relationship with them, if we don't have interaction with them, like if we don't talk to them, they wouldn't learn. Yeah. So even though relationship with the baby is very important, that the children communication and language development also needs significant time for these adult for these kids to develop. So strong relationship with the baby, especially the babies, will need the adult interaction, and we will need to make sounds, language with them, and we need to encourage their vocabulary, encourage them to talk. So the toddlers, all the children do not need constant interaction from the adult. However, the babies do not need it. Otherwise, they wouldn't learn. They wouldn't have, if they don't have this quality time with the adults. How about background noise? How about the background noise? How that will help the child?
The background noise can affect their vocabulary or affect their hearing. Example, if the songs or the TV is too loud, they couldn't hear what the parents they said to them.
Yeah. So could you please tell me, so the background noise is very important. They need to listen to something. They need first year of their life, be like these babies need to tune into sound. They need to listen. So you give them either music, you put the radio on, make them listen to something, so they develop. That will help them to start talking. If you have no noise in the back, if you have no desire to talk to them, they wouldn't learn. It's very impossible for them to learn without these noises or without us being interacting with them. How about the screen time?
And the children watching TV. I think the children can addict for the TV, but it's great as well because they can learn about the cartoon.
It's harmful for them.
We need to turn off the TV and then we need to talk with them.
Don't let them show.
But otherwise can help as well. Otherwise, because if they are watching a movie or cartoon movie, they can develop their language skills. But the parents have to be careful because they can be addicted.
All right, very good. How about hearing loss? So the children need to be able to fully hear, so they can pick up the speech, sound, and information that are used, so they can develop their vocabulary. Children do not, if they do not hear, they may also find it hard to reduce speech, sound, like if they don't hear, they wouldn't learn. Yeah, so if they will speak less rather than normal, the children who have no problem of hearing. So and also their even speaking is not very clear. Yeah, so if they have hearing problem, their speaking is not clear as well. And how about the sensorineural hearing loss? What about the hearing loss? There are another type of the hearing loss, which is sensorineural, which is it's a permanent hearing loss, and it is usually identified for the first few months of the baby's life. Yeah, so this child like if they permanently cannot hear, that will make problem for the baby. Yeah. How about, can you see there are so many another problem like conductive hearing loss? What's that? Do we know what is it?
Conductive hearing.
So conductive hearing loss, while sensorineural hearing loss is fairly rare, conductive hearing loss is very common. So this is very common between the children, especially if they have a glue in their ears. So they have this type of hearing loss. and this glue could cause like irritation. They can't hear very well for the babies, and this prevents the sound from being heard distinctly. And these children are more likely to have this type of hearing loss in winter. Why? Because the cold weather. Because all here is the glue, and if it is really cold, this will make it harder. That's why they will not hear very well. So it is important to recognize that. It is important to understand it and to help the children. For their speaking, for their understanding, there are many signs you can do for the child if they they lose their hearing, and you should see that like the child will notify you in a different way. They can't talk, but you can see it from that the child will muffled their speech, and they will be like different level of responsiveness, and also they show that they react to some instructions, not all of them. They sometimes they have lack of interest. If they watch television, they see them not very interested. Why? Because they can't hear very well, and they see them withdrawn because they can't hear what's going on behind, like around them, and that will bring lots of aggression, lots of frustration for the child. So you can tell that they really having a problem with their hearing loss. Okay, so if we go now to go back now. Let's see, where is the question? So this is all the factors that affect the language and communication needs for the child. Now explain how working with other supports children engagement literacy from birth to 7 years old. So how we can work with other professionals. Sorry, just let me go back to the book. Where is the book? Yeah. So let us go to question 1.3. Okay, working with others to support children emergent literacy. So children emergent literacy can be supported more effectively. How we do that in the early years? So first of all, we work with parents. So parents play a huge role in the development of the child, in their speech, in their language. So obviously the parents' voices for the children is the first thing they hear. They are interested in what their parents telling them, and also the parents they can realize if the child level of language is not suitable for their age. They will tell you. Why? Because they spend a lot of time with their children, so they can be the first to tell you that the child development, language development, is not same level as others. And children are very responsive when they see any attention from their parents. Okay, so these children progress in communication, in language, if the parents are having a good communication with them, and their language will develop smoothly. And so these parents, we can share with them books. We can let them know how to deal with the children, and like it is very important on the child interest, child progress. Why? Because these parents will read these stories for their kids. They will learn a lot. They will develop their language. So if they don't have books, we can lend them some books. It is very essential for the child to have this interaction with the parents, and the parents to teach them these vocabularies through these books. So the first people we interact with to help the children develop their language is the parents, obviously. Second people we interact with, can you think about another professionals we might work with?
The key person.
Yes. Well, you are the key person, obviously, but is there any other people we can work with to help the child? So we have speech and language therapists.
Yeah. Oh, the language therapist.
Yeah. So the speech and language therapist is very important for the literacy of the children. If they are not making any progress with their language, and if they have any difficulty pronouncing or hearing certain letter sound, may need additional support. So if we have the child are not progressing same as other children in the same age group, then I need to contact the speech language therapist to support them. So they work with the children's special needs, and they can give us advice how to enable them to progress, and how can they learn and develop just like the children in their age. Also, we can work with occupational therapists. So some of the children may need additional support, so they can learn more vocabularies, they can speak better, and develop their literacy. All these difficulties they have, we can go to occupational therapist to help them. Yeah, we can contact them, and so if it is difficult for them to develop like other children in their same age group, using the fine or gross motor skills, then we definitely need to contact the occupational therapist. So how we develop these motor skills? Obviously by reading books, by talking to the children, by speaking to the children, help them to read. But if they don't develop fast, like other children, then we need to contact the occupational therapist. They will involve with the child. Their aim, obviously, to minimize the child vocabulary, have the child access to literacy, develop their language. So we can work, as we said, with the parents, with the language therapist, and with the occupational therapist. So now, develop a language rich environment for the children. Do we know what's sorry. So do we know how to develop a language-rich development for the children? First of all, we need to know what's the language-rich development. Rich language. What's the language-rich environment? Sorry. What's the language-rich environment? Do we know? It's the environment where we can help the child, where we can promote talking, communication, Yeah, so we give extra help to promote the child talking and communication. So this is a language-rich environment, and how we can develop it. Can you think about ways to develop this environment? Yeah.
Maybe reading stories or.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Very good. And we can bring them books. We can read it for them. We can ask them a question. We can talk to them. Very good. And even if we don't have time, we can give books to the children to look at the books, read it by themselves. So, we develop the child by using books, by communicating with them, by talking to them, by asking them questions, or maybe working independently. Maybe we give them books and they can do it themselves. So all this is very important. Why? Because we make these children familiar with the books, and they can help the child to read, recognize, and understand. Okay, so as we said, we have lots of games we can do with the children. Like we have cards, we can draw things on them and we ask them questions. We can do drawing, we can do painting, we can read books. We have so many different opportunities we can use to make these children learn more. So all this will bring up and develop language-rich environment. Yeah, encourage. Also, we encourage the child to talk. Sometimes we see the child sitting by themselves, doing nothing, too shy. We encourage them to talk. We start chatting with them. We ask another children to communicate with them. Bring them paper so they can draw and reading, doing writing, bring books. All this promote a good and develop a good language-rich environment. Interact with children to meet individual language and communication needs. So how we can interact with the children to meet their needs. So this question is a question 2.2. Interact with children to meet individual language and communication needs. So firstly, and most important thing, we said what affects the children learning. We just said it like 10 minutes ago, it's relationship. So if we have good and strong relationship with the child, if we keep encouraging them, if we keep talking to them, asking questions, sharing ideas, sharing thoughts, that will help them. It's very important for the child. It will develop their language. Okay, so as you can see, mirroring is one of the ways to develop the child language skills. So one of the way we can interact with the children is by mirroring their facial expression and their gesture. So, for example, whatever they have on their facial expression, we can copy them. That will give us something to talk about. So the child will look at you and they would be slightly unsure. And then because they see you, like, for example, if they are upset, you make same face and stare at them back. That will make the child think, take action, start talking, saying something. They would copy you maybe, or talk to you, or they would laugh. Or so mirroring is a very good technique to make us communicate with the children. Also, the tone of voice is very, very important. So that adults make that make a huge difference. And It depends on the situation. For example, tone of voice. If we want to communicate with babies, maybe we use soft tone voice. That will help them to cope, especially children who just arrived to the nursery for the first time. If we use soft tone voice, that will help them a lot too, or even when we talk to them. And also maybe when we do nursery rhymes, it depends. Maybe if we do different, like a louder tone voice, so the children can listen, can copy us, can understand the words, and they can do it after us. They can repeat it after us. They need to understand the language, so we need to be clear. We need to be slow, little bit louder than normal, so they can listen to the words and repeat it after us. That will help them a lot. So it depends on the situation. We use the tone of voice. Also, it depends on the interest. So what's the quality of interaction with the baby? Are they what they are interested in? Do they like smiles? Do they look at your body language and copy it? So it depends. We need to listen carefully to the children. So we're not only talking to them, because talking is very important to improve their language. However, we need to listen to them. So if they say something to us, we will make like simple communication with them. Also, the children eye level will give the child full intention. So, for example, the child is talking to you, we need to go to their level. So our eyes the same level, so they can understand us more, rather than talking to him while we're standing. We need to sit, be in their level, so they can understand us more. So that's very important. Also, how about recasting? So it is all about the skills that allows the child to hear, to correct whatever we're gonna say, and this skills of that, like for the child, they will need it to listen to us, to react. So they will listen, understand our words, our phrases, they will repeat back. So they need this skills, like they listen, they understand, and they repeat all the time. Otherwise, they wouldn't, if they don't copy us, they wouldn't learn from us, then they wouldn't learn at all. So here you have a book giving you an example that the child say, my dad good, for example. That if you hear this child, you say goes to the, for example, or yes, dad went, not good. It's wrong. So if you listen to the child, understand him properly, then you can correct it. Why? Because they might say it wrong. If you say in front of them correctly, say, oh, your dad went, then they will listen to it and they will repeat it after you. They will say, yeah, dad went, rather than repeat the same mistake again. So this is very important. So the child recasting, so they will rethink about what you said and they try to copy it and do it better. Also, expansion. So this is another skills the child need to like to develop their literacy skills. That the child will hear longer. They will have more sophisticated version of what they used to say. Why? Because their they go older and older and older, so their language will get sophisticated. They will develop. They will start recognizing words, and they will start copying. So as the child develop, they will learn better. Yeah. So they will expand their vocabulary. They will learn more step by step. So there are more techniques, like questioning is a very helpful technique. Why? Because if you ask the child any question, they will think about it. They will start trying to understand it and also answer it. So it is very important. Sometimes children, you see them sitting somewhere very shy, they don't want to talk. Well, if you keep questioning them, they will start. You start building good communication slowly. So even though the question, however, is very helpful, sometimes it is not a good idea. Why? Because it prevents the natural conversation. So, like, let us say I have 5 children to take care of. If I keep questioning them, that I'll prevent a good opportunity that they might think about things and ideas they wouldn't tell me because I'm keep asking them questions. It is a good technique if the child which is very shy, quiet, do not want to interact, then you can use this technique with them. But you don't use it all the time with everyone. Why? Because it's good to develop a natural conversation with the child. Yeah. And also, response time is very important. So the child needs plenty of time to respond. Sometimes they are playing, you ask them a question, they listen to you, they stare at their toys, maybe after a few minutes or a few seconds they respond. So the child needs plenty of time to respond to whatever you question them, especially if they have language delay. So we need to not to rush them to say anything. Then we can just wait, be patient, and wait for the child to respond to you. So it is very important techniques, and to give them this response time, because that's why because it allows them to understand, to put words properly, to put their thoughts properly, to do a proper response. Yeah, so all this is very important to the child. Now where we are now, let's go right. Sorry. So now question 3.1. Says current frameworks and strategies to support the development of emergent literacy. So what's the framework and strategies to support the development of emergent literacy? Can you think about it?
Earlier setting?
Yeah, so earlier setting, do not give specific strategies on how to develop the emergent literacy for the child. However, we have built strategies according to this to support the child. So let us go to these strategies are, first of all, modeling of writing. So the adult often write words, or do labels. We as adult, to develop the child, we can do it by so many techniques. So we write words, we put labels, we give them photos. So all this is the techniques that we use with the child to learn. Also, we have Scrabbling. What's the Scrabbling? Do we know? So Scrabbling, you bring a paper and then you start writing down what the child wants to say about the picture. For example, you show them picture, and then whatever the child wants to say, you write it down on this piece of paper. So that's Scrabbling. How about mark making opportunities? What this technique's all about? Mark making? We use a brush, yeah? So we make mark on the sheet.
Makeup brush.
Yeah, so we use a brush, we use water, dried items to put on the paper to make different shapes, or maybe
Coloring.
yeah, coloring.
Painting.
Exactly. So this is all another technique of just making any mark. We can make it dry rice and put it in a different shape to make mark on the sheet, or we can use a brush, make a drawing. How about writing tables? So the writing tables, adult will have opportunities to write, what's it all about? What's writing tables? Do we know? What's this technique?
A view card making.
Yeah, exactly. So the adults will bring papers and start writing. Maybe we use pen, we use brushes, pads. We can write things, or maybe even use cards to create our writing on it. Also, we can use hand movement. So what's the hand movement? What's this help the child? So the hand movement, we just show the child how to hold a pencil, yeah? How to draw something. All this, another technique we can use for the child to learn. Also, sound game. This is another technique to teach the children to communicate. So we can make sounds with them, and we ask questions, and they hear us, and all this sound they will learn from it. Also, the nursery rhymes, for us as practitioners, we can sing, promote all these nursery rhymes. The child will listen to us. They start listening to it, learn more words, and also draw their attention. So if we see the children are not interested in something, we create some nursery, sing with them some nursery rhymes to bring their attention. Another way of communication is story sacks. So the stories, we can read any interesting books and stories for the children, and read it for them. Also, we can share books. So some of the parents, as we said before, that they might not have stories at home, so we encourage these children to have knowledge. So we share with them books. they might take it home, bring it back, because the nursery has got lots of books, while parents might have a few of them. So if we make them borrow these books, they will learn a lot. Why? Because at home they will read it. They will pick specific words with their parents and learn more vocabulary. So that's very good for them. So this is another technique we can use to learn. Now, explain the use of systematic synthetic phonics in teaching and reading. So we have too many different techniques we can use with the children to help them with their reading. That's 3 point. Okay, so these are the techniques we use for the children to teach them. Can you tell me do you know any of these techniques, and can you explain it to us, please?
Blind.
Yeah, can you explain any of these? Yeah. So we have a rhythm, and what is it? Sounds made by a letter or a group of letters. For example, when you put T-I-O-N, that's shin, sounds like shin. Or maybe SH, that sounds like share rather than say. Or CH, share again. So when you put letters together, that will give it different sound. Also, we have phoneme, which is the smallest unit of sound, which we can break it into like different sections. Like, for example, can you give me any example of this, that you can break it into different sections? Yeah. Like any small units which you can free, for example. This is
spelling test.
Yeah, exactly. It's if you drag a little bit when it is a smaller unit, so the sound is different. Also, we have diagraph, which is 2 letters come together to create a new sound. So, for example, CH, we say chair rather than C is normally you sound you put C, you say it as K, for example, can't or can. While when you put C with H, it sounds like chair. So it's a new sound. Or maybe PH. PH is 2 different letters. While you put them together, you can say it like fair. Yeah. So it's totally different sound. Also, we have a blend. So blend is another technique, and to create a word. For example, as you can see here, snip. Snip are blended together to create one sound. So I have, for example, I have like, for example, you say biscuit. That's so many syllables. While you say snip, snip is just one word, all blended together. Snip. You can't even recognize that there is S, there is N, there is I, there is P. Yeah, it sounds like one blended thing. Also, there is segment. What does it mean, segment? Segment is, what is it? We bring word into separate paragraphs. So, for example, like biscuit. You see, I'm stopping in the middle. So that's two, as if it's two words, but they are one word. CVC, what is it all about? That's different technique. That's you put constant, vowel, constant. For example, cat. So as you can see, C is constant, A is vowel letter, and then T is constant. Pat, constant P, A vowel, and then T constant. So all these are techniques to help them. When we say it, we say C-A-T, cat, for example. This is how we teach them. We don't say, come on, say cat. We need to teach them letter by letter. So I'm going to say to the child, can you say C-A-T? That's a cat. Yeah, C-A-T. So this is CVC. Stand for constant, vowel, constant. So this is another technique of how to teach the child. Now describe how the early years practitioner provide opportunities for sustained shared thinking to support children emergent literacy. So what's the techniques? Describe how, like, because for you are the practitioner in the nursery. So what's the techniques you are using? How you can provide opportunities and you share thinking with the children? Obviously by talking to the child,
Sharing books.
them, very good, sharing books, asking them to read. We can talk about things, any topics. If the child has got a problem, we can discuss it. So this is how we improve their language. So we share books. We also support them by mark making, like we bring sheet and we ask the child to make scribbles or write their draw their thoughts. Also by shared thinking, so we can talk to the child, listen to the child, read stories for them. So as you can see, first technique, as your colleague said, is sharing books. So this is first techniques that we can share ideas with the child. We can share thinking by sharing books. And for example, we can discuss pictures in the book. We can read for them stories. We can ask them what's happening. They can explain to us. So the child might look at the book and show you small details maybe you haven't even looked at or realized because they can identify some small details. They can tell their ideas, what's happening, why it's important. So all this you can see on the child's expression. Okay, so as we said, you share books, you share thoughts, you ask them questions, you talk about things, you discuss it with them. They might keep interested in some things, details in the book. You can ask them questions about it. How about support marking? How you do that? Mark making. So as we said, what's the mark making? Do you remember? We said we bring coloring books. We can bring dry so the child can make shapes with it on the paper. All this mark making. So how we can support the mark making? Mark making is very important. So we can provide plenty of opportunities for the children to explore, and they can put their ideas. They can show us how they think about things. They can make scribbles on the papers. This will help us build good communication with them, good connection. We can write things and ask them how this letter sound. What's the shape of this letter? Also, we can support children's reading. When children first start reading, they need our input. So they wouldn't they wouldn't take the book and start reading straight away. They need you to sit with them, start teaching them what each letter sound like. They need our input, yeah? So it is very important. It is very important to help the child solve problems, interact with them. So the adult will maybe ask them questions, maybe interact with them, ask them for meaning of certain words. It's very important to help the child while they are reading. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to learn. They can't be just learn reading by themselves. Yeah. Now, evaluate the benefit to child holistic learning and development when supporting emergent literacy. So what's the benefit to child holistic learning? So if I go to 4.3. Okay, so what's the benefit to children holistic learning and development? Well, what's the benefit of us communicating with the child? The literacy. What's the point? Why do we have this? First of all, is personal and social development. It's very important. Why? Because without the literacy, the child would not have the social skills, wouldn't be able to interact, wouldn't be able to emotionally develop, wouldn't be able to communicate with other children or with adults. So we need, therefore, to help the child emergent literacy. They wouldn't be able to learn reading. They wouldn't be able to learn writing without our support. Yeah. So therefore, it is very important for us to start doing this with them, because on this way, this will develop their social and emotional skills. And will give them opportunities to spend more time with adults, with other kids, if they have good language. They share books, they share ideas, they can draw things if they have the confidence to do it. Also, we have development. That's another. So first of all, we said the emotional and social development. Second thing is the physical development. So making mark is activities that we use it to support children early writing skills and also for the sensory development. So when they touch things like they touch the paper, they touch the pen, all this, they will have sensory development. They will have, that all develop the fine motor movement for the child. Yeah, so they not only will talk, they will use the paper to do their drawing. They can start reading. All this will help them to physically develop. How that happens is by the sensory materials, by touching the paper, by touching the pen, touching things. This all will help their fine motor movement. Also, communication and language will develop. So we just discussed that if we do good communication with the children at the start of their emergent literacy, so as soon as they start want to do say some words, as soon as they start want to talk, to communicate with us, if we start keep monitoring that, helping them, that will help their communication and language skills. Yeah. And that's by singing there with them, maybe some nursery rhymes. We provide opportunities for them to read, to write, making mark making on the paper. So all this will develop their communication skills. Also their cognitive development. So what's cognitive development? Cognitive development for the child is the brain development. So how that happened, like how we develop that, because reading, writing will help the child a lot through the when they do the marking. Yeah, so any drawing, the child will put their thinking on the paper, like whatever they think of, they will draw it. They will write it on the scrabble of paper. Also, when you share books with them, they will learn a lot. Why? Because they give the books will give them lots of thoughts. Will give them lots of vocabularies, lots of new things. For example, they will learn about animals. They will learn about colors. They will learn about people's names. They will learn shapes. You can ask them about shapes, places. All this will develop their thinking. All right. So if we go back to the same question, it says evaluate the benefit or to children holistic learning. So first of all, we said when we help the emergent literacy for the baby or for the child, that will help them a lot because it will help their personal and social and emotional development, also will help their cognitive development, and it will help their physical development and communication and language. And we have explained each one of these. Now evaluate how planned activities support emergent literacy in relation to current framework. So how planned activities support this emergent literacy. So for example, a child who just starts saying some words, this is emergent literacy for them. They start saying some words, they start slowly communicating more. So what's the activities, plan activities we can do to support the child in relation to the frameworks, to the current frameworks. So what we can do to support this child. So let us go to 5.1. Okay. So as you can see here, what's the planned activities to support emergent literacy for the child? Can you think about some activities that you're planning to do with the child to make them interact with you and also to develop their thinking and the way they you communicate with them? Do we all now work with children in the nursery? Guys? So for you, yeah, as a key person, you need to plan activities to support the child, yes? So in different areas. But all these development or planned activities, it need to be linked to the EYEs, to the national curriculum that we have. So first of all, we need to think about each child as individual. We can't just think, okay, this is the children I'm taking care of, I'm going to have this activity planned. No, as we spoken about this before in different unit, we said we need to focus on each child interest. Yeah. So the way they think, their interest, their learning skills, how developed are they? Because the children, they don't learn all in the same level, even though they are same age group. So first of all, we need to think about the child as individual. So when we evaluate the planning activities that we make it to several children, we need to think about the interest of these children and also their learning level to create our plans. Second thing, we need to think about what the child learned from this activity. So we create an activity, not for the sake of creating thing and just waste time. We need to think about what the child will learn from this activity. For example, I'm going to create playing with the sand activity today. I'm taking the children, we're going out to play with the sand. I shouldn't be just doing this because they will have fun, they will play, and I'm just going to have a relaxing time and not need to sing or read books. Or no, you need, when you plan an activity, you need to put in your mind what the child will learn from this activity. So it's sometimes tricky to evaluate. Why? Because you don't know really. A child might not learn immediately. Like you bring some papers and you start putting papers together according to their color, or maybe put Lego together. Maybe it doesn't have an immediate effect on the child, but they will develop slowly because they will learn colors, they will put them together. So you need to think about about what the child will gain from this activity, what they will learn. And sometimes you don't see the impact of the activity straight away. Sometimes it takes time. So a good example of that, when you share books with a child, like you give the child, you allow them to take some books with them home. They might not straight away come back to say, oh, I read it and I have this, I have that, and I know that. No, they will learn slowly. So it is sometimes tricky because you might not find the immediate effect of your action on the child. But when you share the book, you will prepare this child. You will make them read it at home, read it again, and they will learn a lot, especially if this book is very interesting for this particular child. So you need to think about their interest, which is very important. And you need to check how much information are they gonna get from this activity as well. And so the more you do these activities with them, the more they will gain knowledge. And as you can see here, let us go to this table. So as you can see, when you monitor the child, you need, as we said, you need to understand how this will affect the baby, or the child. So, for example, speaking and listening. The child will be able to listen to a story and understand its meaning. They will be able to retell you the story or the event. And also they will be able to follow two parts instruction. They will be able to repeat nursery rhymes. They will be able to complete the rhymes, to understand and repeat the words of these rhymes. Also, they will make special sounds for these words sometimes. They can stress the words when it should be stressed in a rhyme. So this is all techniques. Also the reading. So the child will be able to recognize all names if you allow them to read. They will be able to recognize words. They will be able to recognize how they match words. For example, how they can match words if they put can you think about matching words? Maybe chair, big chair with a small chair, make a group of chairs, how they can match words together. Also, they able to recognize some letters. So after you teach them, you make them read the sounds of the letters, making a difference as well. Also about the writing, if you teach them writing, they will be able to make shapes to do, like they would understand now left or right. They will create some letters shape. They can write it by themselves. They might be able to write their own names. So this is how you can like when we say, where is it? Sorry. So when we think about the learning activities, we need to think how much the child will gain from. So if I'm going to teach them to read a book, I need to understand what they're going to gain. First of all, they might not gain something immediately, but they will gain a lot because reading the book, they will understand the word. They will understand how the words sound. They will understand. So this is all you write on your sheet. When you put an activity, you will put the purpose of the activity. This is not for the, I'm explaining to you because you need it when you work in a nursery. So if you put activities, you will write what's the benefit of these activities. And you need, sometimes, as we said, it's sometimes tricky because if you give a book to the child, you might not see the benefit straight away, but when the child reads the book, They will learn new words. They will learn the sound of the words. They will learn a lot of the letters, individuals. So that's all good for them. If they write, they will learn how the letters look like, the shapes of the letters. They might be able to write them, their names. So this is how you can evaluate the learning activities according to the EY's framework. Let us get to the question after that. Eyes own rule in relation to planned activities. So what's your own rule to in relation to planned activities? So as a practitioner, you need to create planned activities, yeah? So what's your rule? So why, in fact, why do we do planned activities? We do planned activities to make the children learn, yes? So we can't just come and from the top of our head, we give them toys and that's it. We need them to learn, so we do planned activities. And why it is important to evaluate our planning activities or reflect on them. So it is very important. Why? Because we can monitor how much the child have learned. Do we need to do this exercise again? Do we not need to do this exercise again? That's why we reflect on our activities. So as you can see here, we have an example that you might recognize that activity was interesting and enjoyable for the child. So if we do some activities, plan activities, next time I would know what's important for this child particularly, because not all the children would like same activities all the time, but some of them will have like this natural interest in some of the activities we do with them. So if this child really enjoyed this, so our goal is to create more activities for the same child similar to this. Why? Because they enjoy it. They will participate in it, yeah? So first of all, our goal is to create the planned activity. Second thing is to reflect on the planned activity. So we know which one is good, which one they enjoy it most, so we can recognize it, repeat it, and to make them enjoying the learning process. So that's why we do the reflection on our work. Yeah, so you've been reflecting on your work since we started this course. Every day you have a reflection account. That's why we're doing the reflection. Why? Because we need to identify, when we do activities, we need to identify which one is more suitable, much more enjoyable for the child, so we can do it more often. And if the activities didn't work out for the child, or he wasn't or she wasn't interested in, maybe stop doing it with him, because we need each child to be interested in what we're doing with them, so they can do it and they can learn. If I bring a child who is not interested in specific activities and I do it with him all the time, he wouldn't learn at all. Yeah. So that's why it is very important to identify where is the child interest. When we plan an activity, I need to reflect on my work, so I know how much the children have learned, how much they enjoyed it, and from there I can develop it, analyze it, and do more of these interesting activities for the children. Now, make recommendation for meeting children individual literacy needs. So how can I make recommendation for the child to meet the child individual literacy needs? Can you think about, like, you've been working with the children for quite a while now, even if you haven't until now found a voluntary job, you still maybe you have kids, maybe you have nieces, nephews. So is there any recommendation you can think of to meet the child individual literacy need?
Depend from the child.
Very good. That's very, very important. So we need to know what's the child interest, what they know already, and we need to check their skills, their level of learning. So that's why we do lots of activities with them. First of all, to check their level and the progress of each child, and also then we do our recommendation based on these activities. So as you can see here, so for example, I need to monitor which aspect of the activities has the child enjoy most. That's very important. Why? Because if the child enjoy it, he will learn a lot. So we can start creating tailored activities to based on their interest. Yeah. Second thing, we need to monitor which aspect of the activities did find easy. Maybe if he finds this easy, maybe we can and he found it easy, he mastered it, then it will help him to recognize that the child maybe is ready for additional work. Yeah, because if this activity is very easy, let us say I give the child creating some shapes with the Lego. Yeah, some of the children might find it difficult, takes time to learn to do it. Follow me, copy me. Some of them, they find it very easy. They put it all together, it's done. Then I would recognize that next time I need to give them harder task, a little bit more developed activity for their age group and for their skills level. Yeah. So first of all, I need to monitor the activities to check which activities seem more enjoyable for the child, so we can do more of it. We can tailor my activities to the child interest. Also, second thing, I need to check which aspect of the activity the child find it easy for him. And then maybe next time I would give him a little bit more additional challenge to do rather than give them all same level of activities. One of them is really developed, then I give him a little bit harder challenge. Otherwise, they would get bored. Like if you give them everything same level, then this child who can do the Lego house faster, he would do it and then sit watching everyone thinking, oh, wow, I need more, something to do. Otherwise, he will get bored, maybe will get distracted. So what we need to do is to give them more developed activities. We need to monitor which aspect of the activities did the child find it difficult. So I give all the children the same activities. One of them will find something really difficult for him, while other ones are doing it fine. So then maybe the child is not ready for that. Then maybe give him a little bit simpler next time. Yeah, so as I go on progress with my activities, I would give him little bit simpler activities so he can master slowly, or she can master slowly. So this is the recommendation for meeting children individual literacy. So first of all, we need to monitor the children activities. That I need when I create an activities to the children, I need to monitor these activities on them to check which child is enjoying his activities more than others. Then maybe I tailor my activities next time to do it for this child, particularly do more of these exercises for him or her. Also, I need to monitor which aspect of my activities was too easy for some of these children. If it is too easy, that means it's not. This child will not develop, will not get challenged by this activity. So what I do, I develop the activities next time to give him a little bit more challenge, while giving other children different activity. Some of the children might find it too difficult and complicated for them. Then I give them something simpler to master, to learn, and then they can enjoy it, develop it, repeat it a few times, or do it with them slowly, teach them how to do it. Then they can learn and master their activities. Otherwise, they wouldn't learn. If you always give all same and some of them find it difficult at all times, they wouldn't learn. So maybe you give them a little bit simpler and you go slowly develop your activities until it fit what they need to learn. Okay, so this is, so which question of these you're not sure of we can do together before we go to the reflective account, please? Are we all clear about this unit?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, very good. Now I need to do with you the reflective account. So if we go use strategies to plan activities which encourage speaking and listening. So if I go to 4.1, let us go to see what's, and then we can do it, tailor it to our own activities. So each one of you, when answering the reflective account, you need to talk about your own skills, your own abilities, your own what did you do and how did you, why do you think what you did was good? Sorry, we're done with this. Let me close it so we don't get confused. So now 4.1. So you need to talk about this activity, about yourself. So you say, in my nursery, I've done this, I have used this, rather than talking in general. Okay. So strategies you can create to plan activities. So how do you think about strategies? We have spoken about so many strategies so far. For example, we need to make the child read, make the child write. How we can do that? Do you remember when we said we bring Scrabble and the child can do Scrabbling on them, or we can talk about the mark making on the paper, support child reading. So let us talk about child reading, because this is example. This example is easy. So if I'm going to answer this question from the reflective account, where it says use strategies to plan activities which encourages speaking and listening. So I'm going to say, in the nursery where I work, I always use different strategies to encourage and support the child's speaking and listening. So what I do, especially with using books, so I use books that interest the depends on the child interest. I choose the book wisely. Then I give the children these books so they can start reading, I obviously have my own input because I sit with the children and one by one and start reading the words with him or her to the other children. Then he can learn from my pronunciation. He can copy me in and then start following what I'm reading for him. He will look, or they will look at the way that the letter is being written. They will also monitor my tongue movement. When I say the words, I need them to say it in the same way. So that is very important for the children. Yeah, so this is how you can answer it. So this is speaking and listening, or even you can, this is leaving for the reading. I would do this as a reading. I give the children books, you read, they read it with me. That's how I develop their reading. About the speaking, we can say, I use another technique, which is the questioning. So I start, if I see the children quiet, I start asking questions and make some gifts for the children who know the answer. And that make a good competition between them. Whenever they know the answer, we clap for them in the class. That will encourage them a lot to do lots of speaking and listening. Some of them are shy and quiet. But if I keep asking them, they would have to come up with something, and the encouragement and the praising at the end of their answer will help them a lot to come off out of their shyness and start talking, speaking and listening. Sustains shared thinking. So how can we encourage their shared thinking? So for example, what activities would you do to encourage the shared thinking? So you can maybe you can say, in my nursery I do lots of exercises and activities to sustain the shared thinking, and that's some of the activities, such as I give the children papers and start asking them to write or draw, like I show them a shape and ask them to draw it. So each one of them will put his ideas on the paper. Then we start explaining to each one of these children, we will explain to the class, why did he draw this item and why it is in this color, and what does he like about this page. And also I ask other questions to reflect on this child drawing by telling him what they liked best in his painting. And that's how we share thinking between each other. About writing, you can say, in the nursery where I work, I do exercises to encourage them writing. Some of these exercises, like I bring papers and put in front of them big card where it has the letter, for example, A, and I ask them to write it on their paper, and they all should write this letter by letter. I put the card and ask them, and they start writing it themselves. So when they write it themselves, they will learn it more rather than just reading. Reading is good, but with writing, they will learn a lot. Also, we can talk about the digital literacy. So the digital literacy, you say, in the nursery, I have with my colleagues so many activities to interact the children. For example, we put sometimes some videos on from YouTube to show the children how the other children can pronounce words, how can they can spell the words, how can they can pronounce it and spell the letters. We show them these videos, they copy it, and they from time to time we stop the video so they can repeat the songs or the words, so they will learn by repeating these things together. Now, lead an activities to support extended emergent literacy. So now you have to come up with something to lead an extended emergent literacy. So I can say, one day I was, no, it says lead, so it's now, you need to do it now, not something from the past. So you can say, I always help children and babies with their emergent literacy, so they can learn, read, and write, and they become ready for schooling. One of the activities I planned was reading a book. So I gave all children books according to their interest. Each child will have to read part of the book for us, just a few words that he can recognize from the, because they all have very basic language skills, so anyone would recognize any word from the book. They can read it aloud at the class. They really enjoyed this activities because they had a laugh while they are learning as well. Each one of them came up with at least 2 or 3 words they recognize from the book, and then we started reading each one start reading his word to the class, their words to the class, so other children will learn from this child whatever words, new words that he can teach them. So they start reading for each other and learning at the same time. You can come up with any exercises. For me, I come up with this. Maybe you can be more creative. Just think about what you can do with the children and how can you help them to extend their emergent literacy. Just bring any activities, just the way you done it. What you end up with, did the children learn, did they enjoy it? You just write it down. Now, just the last question says, work with partner carers in a way that which encourage them to take an active role in their child play, learning, and development. So I can say, in the nursery where I work, I always try to encourage parents to take an active part in their child learning and development, because they are the closest to the child, and the children spend a lot of time with their parents, especially during the weekend. So what I did was giving each child a book, each parent a book to take with them home so they can read it for the children, and then we swap these books from time to time. That helped a lot, because at home the parent will read these stories for the children, and when they come to the nursery they start read. I ask them to read these stories or tell us what's in the book to the other children. So each child will have his own or her own story to tell that the parents have told them already. So the parents were very satisfied because the child has gained so many skills. They learn how to read, how to and also to gain social skills, because they were speaking and listening with other children about the story that they learned from home. Or any other activities. You can say how you encourage them to take active part. You can say, I asked one day, I asked the parents, each parent to come on a different day to sit with their child for the whole day and start talking to them, start learning, teaching them, start doing activities with them, and that's made the parents very happy. Why? Because they were, I encouraged them to take an active role in their child learning and development. That's another example. So you can just come up with any example which suit this, and I'm happy with it. I don't really say no. The awarding body would not say no as long as it's suitable for the question. Any question, please, so we can discuss it before we end the session for today. Have you all understand how you can develop the literacy skills for the children?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You just need to teach them how to read, how to write, check their interest. If they're interested in something, you do more of it. If you think some of the activities are too easy for them, you give them more challenges next time. If you think it's difficult for them, then you give them easier next time. Just monitoring the child and make sure you work on their development, develop their reading, writing, and speaking and listening. Asking them questions, you can do scrabbles with them, you can do so many techniques as long as they are correct and can develop the child. Thank you so much for attending, and I hope you enjoyed the class. And if you have any question, please do not hesitate to contact me. You know my phone number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mama.
Thank you,
so
Nana.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just need to make. I just need to tell you one thing, please. I need to make sure that you all submit this week, please. That's very, very, very important. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yes, please, inshallah. I like really want everyone to submit